Recreational cannabis is legal in California, as you know, as of the first of the year, but is it safe?
Yeah, there are just a handful of labs testing millions of pounds of marijuana, and they can't test it all yet. That means some of the pot on shelves now may not meet some state standards that go into effect in the next couple of months.
Right. ABC 7 Mornings anchor Natasha Zuvez shows you what you need to know before you go to a dispensary.
At the Harborside Cannabis Dispensary in Oakland, sales are brisk. All of the products on these shelves are laboratory tested for safety and potency.
We test because while cannabis itself is very safe, it can be contaminated with things that are not safe.
According to the Cannabis Industry Association, just 5% of cannabis products for sale in the state are tested for safety. And some experts believe as much as half the pot being grown is contaminated with potentially dangerous chemicals or bacteria.
Pesticides are one of those things, but there's a variety of pathogenic molds and fungus that can also grow in cannabis that can be dangerous to human beings, especially people who have compromised immune systems.
Harborside founder and potrepreneur Steve D'Angelo also co-founded the nation's first pot safety testing lab called Steep Hill in Berkeley.
The current supply of cannabis in the retail market is, I would say, questionable.
Up until now, pot agriculture has been unregulated. That changed on January 1st. The state now requires testing for 66 pesticides, harmful chemicals, and dangerous fungi. But testing the pot is actually impossible because there are only 19 laboratories in the state currently approved to test as many as 50,000 pot farms in California. So the state has given growers and sellers until July 1st to sell the pot that they already have without testing, raising concerns about what is safe.
A very significant percentage of what we test would fail in a regulated market.
Not good.
Anthony Torres is a senior researcher at Steep Hill.
What I have here is a plated sample from cannabis that is contaminated with a few different types of funguses.
Torres says they're finding many of the compounds that will ultimately be banned by the state in samples.
This looks pretty bad, right? Growing on a plate. Can you imagine what it would look like growing in your lungs?
Unfortunately, we may know. Doctors at UC Davis Medical Center in Sacramento believe a cancer patient died from a rare fungal infection last February. Researchers were able to trace the illness back to the pot that was supposed to make the patient feel better. Even the chemicals that would have prevented those dangerous fungi from growing could harm you. Fungicides and pesticides that may be safe to use on food may not be when they are smoked.
And upon combustion, mycobutanol forms cyanide gas, which can make it into your bloodstream, and it's very toxic.
The State Cannabis Bureau has established a timeline for testing all pot. The goal, to test everything by the end of this year.
Yes, eventually everything will be labeled with testing results. Currently, if products are not tested, they'll have a sticker on them that will say so.
Back at Harborside, Steve D'Angelo says your best bet for buying tested cannabis is at a licensed dispensary. He says you shouldn't be afraid to ask for proof.
If they can't do that, then you might want to go somewhere else.
Natasha Zuvez, ABC 7 News.